everyone. Before this starts, I would just like to say that I know that it sounds really bad and everything. Uh, I noticed while I was reading it that it was sounding bad because I had some kind of lisp the entire time, and all my complaining and everything, and the little pauses I take, and the fact that I can't read very well might be annoying, or I don't know, maybe it's to some extent an entertainment value. Uh, but I'll try and do better in the next fan fiction I read, so, just don't worry about that. Uh, I'll try and do it at times when I can actually speak louder and more clearly, instead of having to basically whisper everything. And, yeah. So, just keep, I don't know what to say at this point. I think my, future self note is over. It's time to flip back over to past self. Let him start reading the fanfic, shall we?
Welcome back to the next fanfiction reading. Let's just jump right in. I don't care. Good start. Mayors and gentlecoats of the High Cabinet, I said, addressing them. I realize that it is not a matter of protocol to begin proceedings such as these with an apology, but in this case, I feel one is warranted. And as humility has never been one of my greatest strengths, I find it meet that I should cultivate in any such learnings in my soul. I gazed clear-eyed at each one of them in turn. My faithful ministers, I declared, I am sorry for behaving in a most unprincess-like fashion yesterday, and inadvertently compromising the bedrock of equestrian society over a relatively trivial matter of beverage preference. And I'd like to apologize as well, said little Twilight, at my side. Had I not been so completely flipped out with panic over the possibility of a second changeling attack on Canterlot, I wouldn't have brought the business end of Elements of Harmony to bear on my wonderful teacher, thus lighting the fuse that led to this whole big blow-up thing. Apologies are all well and good, Highness, Miss Sparkle, rumbled Chancellor Palimpsest. Great names. Leaning forward, but they will not restore the public's faith. Our tea exports have plummeted overnight. There is talk that the crop of equestrian domestic must perforce be terrible. Hold on. What? There is talk that the crop of equestrian domestic must perforce be terrible this year. If it engenders in the princess such a violent negative reaction. Big words. Big. Let me just get some water. Engenders in the princess such a violent negative reaction. There are even mutterings that the crop itself might be cursed or hexed, added Lady Goldenrod. This is a financial disaster, Highness. The ruination of many lives. Sociologically speaking, added Poetry Slam, my distressingly hip minister of culture, adjusting his tiny smoked spectacles. This also puts us on the precipice. I don't fucking know. Of an extremely ungroovy of an extremely ungroovy downward swing in tea-house attendance, leading to a widespread societal angst as we attempt to reconcile and rebuild our culture identity in light of these new standards of obligatory third-place interaction. I think that was all the air in my lungs. He sat back. We're like ships without rudders. I'm not saying that. Yes, I said, my head, my head high, and I bear it all on my own back, except Poetry Slam's thing, which I don't understand at all. And she totally doesn't have to do that, cut in Twilight, because it's not her fault. I glanced down at Twilight as she stepped up to the podium. Okay, cabinet people, she said, I don't want to alarm you overmuch, but I can sum up the problem we're facing here with one single word. No. She leaned over the podium, resting her hooves heavily on its edges. Discord, she said. The cabinet erupted in gasps. Oh, no, 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 no. I moved smoothly to interpose myself between Twilight and her podium. What I think my faithful student means, I began. Discord has returned, shouted the always high-strung Cardinal. Cardinal? And he can make ponies not enjoy tea? No, he is still stoned. But yes, he can, said Twilight, pointing who was like unto a rock before the podium and would not be moved. Okay. Or at least his lingering corruption spells can. I figured it all out last night. No matter how much I thought about what the princess said to me yesterday, there was a part of me that was utterly convinced that she just couldn't not like tea. And how do you know what? And do you know what I realized? That part of me was absolutely right. Twilight smiled serenely. You see, Chancellors, when Discord attempted to destroy harmony by controlling the minds of my friends and me and making us act contrary to our fundamental natures, we all did some pretty crazy things. My friend Applejack started lying, Pinkie Pie started grouching, Rarity got greedy, Fluttershy got mean, and Rainbow Dash just up and deserted everybody. And it made me lose faith in friendship. Mayors and gentle courts, Discord made us do things that none of us would ever do in real life, except Applejack sometimes. And that's... well, okay, I'll give it that. And that's when it hit me. Twilight turned towards me, her eyes bright and trusting, the very picture of the little filly I had accepted as my personal protege all those years ago. Princess Celestia would never not enjoy tea in real life. It's just too important to her, to us, and that means Discord got to her too. Clearly, a non-tea drinking Celestia is diametrically opposed to the real Celestia we all know and love. Twilight grinned at me and snuggled up against my side. Wait, the Chancellor Palimpsest, don't know. No, I don't even have a joke for that. His eyes narrow. Are you saying that our Princess Celestia is corrupted by Discord's influence as we speak? Yep, said Twilight. So, what can we do to bring the main queen home to us, little sister? Asked Poetry Slam. It's simple, cried Twilight. We do the same thing I did for all my corrupted friends. I cast a memory spell on the princess, and it'll make her relive every single beautiful tea experience she's ever had. That way, all her enjoyment of tea will come surging back to her, and she'll be cultured, tea-drinking sun princess we all... I missed a word. And she'll be the cultured tea-drinking sun princess we all know and love again. My left eye twitched. Every single tea experience? I asked quietly. Uh-huh, said Twilight, nodding brightly. Thousands and thousands of years of happy little tea memories. It'll be great. Water. Breathing. I have quickly forgotten these things. Trembling slightly, I looked down at the shining face of my faithful student, and then up at my high cabinet. Each one to a pony was perched on the edge of her or his cushion, watching me, waiting to hear what I would say next. All they wanted it to be a curse I labored under. The world wanted it that way. Oh, jeez, I think my voice is going out. I've got kind of a I don't know, like a sandstone kind of feel to it. That's the only way I can think to express it. The world wanted it that way. An entire quarter of the economy and non-insignificant slice of our diplomatic relationships hinged improbably on my being the princess that everybody publicly and quite incorrectly knew to be me. Well, same thing. Down to the least and most insignificant detail. I am not the master of my people, like any good, righteous politician in the annals of history. I am their servant, and never has this been more clear than in the words I uttered next. Twilight Sparkle, I said, is absolutely correct. Oh, so she's just gonna go back to lying? Come on. That's no way to deal with things. Alright, there's a little pause here, so I'm gonna take another little pause to drink some water. Maybe that'll help my throat a little more. And I'm gonna take a second to breathe. I guess I could say a couple thoughts on this. So far, the fanfic is pretty good. I'm at least halfway through the fanfic at this point, and it's pretty good. I like it. With all of its little inconveniences, it's still pretty good. If I was reading it on my own, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but, you know, I sound stupid in front of a lot of people now because I'm reading it to you. And no, I'm not going to edit it out. That's a lot of work and it's a pain in the ass. Okay, let's continue. And then it was the next day, and I stood tall and unbowed on the coronation balcony before a great and cheering crowd of my pony subjects. To my right was my faithful student, Tourmaline Diadem, seated proudly on her forehead. Seated proudly on her forehead. To my left, a positively incandescent Miss Cozy, whose happy little world had been rebuilt in toto from the ashes it had fallen to. I stepped forward, looking down at the milling throng. Certainly all my tea-related would-be petitioners from yesterday would be in attendance, their worries now washed away by the surprise revelation that the Sun Princess had been suffering some dark sorcery this whole time. That she hadn't actually declared her apostasy from their all-important beverage. The mood from the crowd was the sort of deep ocean-like contentment that can only come from a vast multitude of ponies feeling the relief of slipping back into the status quo. Of course, my sinuses are acting up now. Because more than anything in this world, more than apples, more than jewels, more than muffins, what a pony wants most out of life is normalcy. Well, doesn't that speak to the world? I was about to give them what they wanted. With great decorum and ceremony, Miss Cozy levitated a small portable tea service over to where I stood, facing the masses, my beautiful antique teacup telekinetically suspended for every pony to see. Miss Cozy poured, then filling the cup, I noted with bemusement that she had chosen Twilight's fresh Darjeeling for the ceremony. It was fitting. I stared down into the pale amber-colored liquid, courtesy of Twilight Sparkle. I had spent the entirety of last night reliving thousands and thousands of hateful years of tea, and though it nearly broke me, I had endured. This one simple real-world task was all that remained. Surely I could do this. I raised the cup to my lips, and the horrid liquid entered my mouth. I had once, in my youth, reduced a small mountain to pea I had once in my youth reduced a small mountain to pea gravel with only my hooves to aid me. The effort I had expended there was nothing compared to that which I now spent in attempting to keep my abdominal muscles completely still. One small wretch could bring the whole world crashing down again. Blessedly the nausea passed, and I flashed the crowd a perfect smile, holding my teacup aloft. "Delicious!" I declared, and they erupted in cheers. "It's good to have you back, Princess," said Twilight, looking up at me as the noise washed over us like a wave. "It's good to be back," I agreed. Huh, well, that's the end. I guess I was a little over halfway through. Uh, and the recording's only 14 minutes long at this point. So, got a little bit of time, I guess. Let me catch my breath. Author's note, read if you like a brief code of this speech. Uh, so, yeah, this was an interesting, it was an interesting fanfic. It was nice. Like I said, I liked it. It's enjoyable. Uh, oh, God, that came out weird. It's enjoyable. Is what I meant. Not like I was about to throw up. My lungs are on fire. Um, I think it's just a little lingering in some of its details. Like it just goes on a little too long and when it describes anything. But, every little fanfic has their unique touch about them. And I mean that's no different. It's not really a flaw, it's more of just a preference. Uh doesn't mean they're a bad writer. In fact, it probably means that they're a better writer, but I'm not a writer myself, so I can't say that for sure. Anyways, yeah, it was nice. Uh, Before my voice gives out, I'd like to say that this is the last fanfiction I had on the list. If you would like to hear me read more fanfiction, um, you can just say so. You can, like, send me some fanfics, or you can just say that you want me to read more, and I'll do my best to find a good fanfic to read. If there's a fanfic that is bad that you would like me to read, like, I mean, just poorly written, and you think it would be funny, I'm totally up for that. Uh, so yeah, um, I suppose that's the end of it. God, I think I'm gonna, I think my lungs are just gonna give out.